Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today I'm going to do an update to a very popular video I did 2 days ago, which was titled, My Girlfriend Wanted to Do a Wild Girls Weekend in Florida, so I ended it with her, and she freaked out. And guys, for those of you that didn't see this, and I'm sure very few of you that are watching this didn't see it, quick recap, this is about a guy who shared his story, and it was a long one but a good one, how essentially, after having many girlfriends over the years and learning the hard way about how things are nowadays with the gals and being cheated on twice in 3 of his serious relationships, finally got a girlfriend that he was with for 3 years or so, had a great thing going, he was really happy, the whole 9 yards, but then one day she crossed the line where she wanted to go on a girls' weekend in Florida with her 2 friends. Her 2 friends that didn't like this guy and were professional carousel riders. And he made it clear to begin the relationship, look, if you're going to be with me and I'm moving towards something really serious, eventually marriage, blah, blah, no crazy girls' weekends or things like that because I know what comes from it because he had been cheated on and he'd been down that road before. No problem. Well, one day she decided she wanted to go. And that was it. And he had planned to marry her. He bought the ring and was going to propose. He hadn't done that yet. And to his knowledge, at the time, she didn't know. And pretty much, he then just gave her back the ring that he gave her the ring that he was going to buy. Give to her anyway, and pretty much said it was over. And she freaked out, had a meltdown, all that. And he said, look, you're clearly not in the place that I am right now. I want someone that's going to want to be with me that's done that bullshit, that doesn't need to go on some crazy girls' weekend, because believe me, many of you guys know darn well what happens on these girls' weekend. It's like a free hall pass weekend. That's how it goes. And I've heard countless stories from guys I know that are bartenders or bouncers, what goes on in these girls' nights and girls' weekends and all that. It's like a free pass to cheat on your husband and boyfriend. He's done that bullshit, and he doesn't trust her friends. They broke up, the whole 9 yards, and she kept begging and pleading to get back with him. And his mom and other friends and her family, they've been giving him a hard time about it. And it's been 2 years. But he still moved on. He handled it in a very mature way. He wasn't a jerk about it. This guy, he's very mature, has his shit together. So this is an update to respond to a lot of the questions guys had from the previous video, as well as really showing what was going on behind the scenes of during the breakup, what happened afterwards. And you're not going to believe, well, let me rephrase that, you will believe it, some of you, what was going on with his mom and sister during this whole thing with his ex. It didn't surprise me in the least, and so they'll give you another window into how the gals operate. So, getting into it, he says, hey SSM, I'm the guy that sent you the story about my former girlfriend Sarah in the video you labeled, well, you guys know the label. Thank you for sharing my story. I had no idea that it would get the reception that it has. For all those of you that comment on the video, thank you for your kind and not so kind words. Bro, I knew that video would do well. I knew when you sent me that email that it would be very popular, so I'm not surprised in the least. He says, I spent some time reading a lot of the comments and realized I should clarify and update a few parts of my story. Like I said in the last message, this happened 2 years ago, and to this day, my mom and sometimes my sister still give me grief about the decision I made. There was more to the story, but my last post was getting to be too long to add everything. Here are some responses to some of the posts with a bit more background in the story. It says, for those of you that were saying that I was an idiot for giving her the ring to keep, maybe I was, but I don't think so. You have to remember that she didn't betray me. She simply made a decision that was at odds with what I could accept in my own life. Even to this day, I will always hold a place for Sarah in my heart. She gave me 3 fun and love-filled years. I bought the ring specifically for her and wanted her to have it. It wasn't as some form of revenge or as a way to pour salt in the wound. It was a gift to a woman that I loved completely and nothing more. If that was stupid, I'll have to live with that, but I sleep good at night, so whatever. Well, bro, hey, it's your life. Do what you want. It's not what I would have done. It's not what a lot of other guys in the channel would have done, but that's my business. I would handle things a different way, but hey, if you're happy, okay, cool. But I would have exchanged it back and got whatever money I could because that's just me. It says, the only thing I regret was the manner I gave it to her. I should have waited until after I broke up with her. But I made mistakes like everyone else. I apologized to her and explained myself to her, and she accepted my apology. In the story, guys, he she wanted to go on that girls' wild weekend thing, and pretty much is like, okay, if you want to go, you want to go. Went back to the room, gave her the ring, and she was like, because and then he said, but we're done. Just like that. So he was obviously, I could have handled that better. And we can debate on that one. Now we're getting to the good stuff. He says, to clarify the breakup, yes, she was hurt, angry, and confused when I broke up with her. But when I explained why we were breaking up and reminded her that I was crystal clear when we first started dating about my boundaries, she understood. This was the boundaries, like, if we're going to be together at this point in my life, I'm done with the girls' weekends to Florida or Mexico or wherever the hell they go. I'm done that bullshit. If you need to keep doing that type of thing, we're not in the same place. And she agreed to that. But guys, I mentioned in the previous video, when women feel certainty with guys, they don't treat the guys as well. And in some cases, badly. And they'll go back on boundaries that guys set when they think that they got them no matter what. And there's no greater way to get a woman to think that she's got a sure thing with you than giving her a ring. And she's like, I got this guy, as well as moving in with him. So it's always a good place to be for your relationship, guys, to always have her a little uncertain of where she stands with you. I know it sounds mean. I know it sounds, why would you treat somebody you care about like that? But it is what it is. Notice that the gals always chase after and lust for the bad boys. What do bad boys bring to the table? Uncertainty. They never know how much they like them. They never know when they're going to call. They never know when they're going to show up. They never know how they feel. They hardly ever get validation. So the bad boy, they're always chasing their validation. They're always kept on their toes. They're always, it's an emotional roller coaster, and that gets their emotions engaged, and they're attracted to them. Meanwhile, the nice guy, they have absolute certainty with them. They always know when they're going to call. They always know when they're going to come by, when they're going to go out. They're as predictable as can be, and they get bored with them. So this is why, and also they will pull BS on the nice guy because they know they can get away with it. It's like children. And yes, I'm comparing gals to children because there's a lot of similarities. This is why it's always in your interest to have her more into the relationship than you, to be more into you than her. In a perfect world, this wouldn't have to happen, but it's human nature. It is what it is. So I'm just giving you guys this piece of advice. I'd have a lot of people that probably would hate on me for saying what I'm saying, but you get the ugly truth here, whether people want to hear it or not. And for you guys that have been around the block, I'm sure you agree what I'm saying. So if she got that ring, or she knew about that ring, that's when the behavior changed. So and wait till you're going to see a little bit more about this, guys, in a second, about that ring. It's going to play a major role in what was going on. Back to the breakup, he was crystal clear about his terms. He says, that's not to say she didn't try to backtrack on her decision, but it was too late once she asked me if she could go. She remained in my house for about 3 weeks while I helped her pack, and we divided up our joint property. Other than her constantly trying to get me to reconsider, there wasn't a lot of drama, at least until her friends got involved. But that's a story for another day. Let's just say the term pit vipers comes to mind. I guess that's easier than saying evil bitches. You could say evil bitches, and he made it clear her friends weren't exactly classy gals, and no surprise there. He says, I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure that one of them even keyed my car door. In the time we were getting her packed up, both of our parents had tried to get me to change my mind. At first, it was my mom coming over to try and play mediator, but I cut that off quickly and politely told my mom that while I understood her feelings, my relationship wasn't her business. Exactly. You don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be a jerk about it. Simply, Mom, I love you, but I'm a grown-ass man. What I do in my love life is not your business. Okay, you liked her a lot, and maybe you're hoping for a daughter-in-law. It didn't work. It's my business. So don't bring it up again. But you're going to see there's a lot more going on with Mom than meets the eye. A little Transformers reference. He says, of course, she didn't like my answer, but that was her problem to deal with. Which, other than the occasional comment about how wrong she thought I was, I assumed my mom had accepted my choice. I'll talk about more of that in a minute. Ha, no way. Her parents had stopped by about 2 weeks after I ended our relationship to try and talk sense into me. I liked her parents, and they'd always treated me well, so I politely listened to their concerns. When they were finished making their pitch for me to reconsider, I explained what my boundaries were and made sure they heard Sarah acknowledge that she not only knew what my boundaries were, but had accepted them when we started dating. That's something. She could have been throwing a tantrum or taking the side of her parents. So I respect that she acknowledged that you said what you said. To her credit, she didn't try to spin it or make me out to be a liar. Her mom was angry that I wasn't interested in giving her a second chance, since technically Sarah hadn't done anything wrong other than having a desire to go on the trip. Of course, mom's looking for a loophole. Now, let's question this, guys. Why is this dude's mom and this girl's mom so concerned about this? Why are they getting so involved? Well, this guy at the time, I think, was in his late 20s, and I'm sure the girl was around there. What do you think his mom and her mom are hoping to happen in the near future with this couple that been together for 3 years? If you haven't said wedding, there you go. Wedding. Because her mom wants to be the rock star mother of the bride, and his mom wants to be the rock star mother of the groom, and have the big party, and send out all the invitations, and have that whole thing for them. And one day to become future grandparents. That's usually what's going on behind the scene. So let's just see, could that be it? Her mom was angry, blah, blah, blah. Sarah hadn't done anything wrong, blah, 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 blah. If I allowed her to go and something happened, I wouldn't have had anyone to blame for myself or for being a doormat. If I told her she couldn't go, she would have resented me. I did the only thing I could do, and that was to set her free so she could make whatever decision she wanted to make with clear conscience, and I would get to keep our good memories together. Her dad was disappointed that his daughter made the decision that she did and said as much. That started an argument between her mom, and her dad, and they left shortly after that. Before leaving, her father apologized to me and shook my hand. I really appreciated him for that. He also thanked me for not being a jerk with his daughter. See, the father gets it. The father was cool about it, respected that, and the mom's pissed off at him because he wasn't sticking with her. Imagine that. The gals stick to the gals, the guys stick to the guys. He says they were still arguing when I closed the door. I'm not sure who won that argument, but it's not my concern. Not that being a jerk was in my nature, I'm glad her dad wasn't angry with me. Aside from being a generally nice guy, he also had a big collection of some big effing knives. He says someone in the comments had said something about my mom possibly telling Sarah that I was thinking about asking her to marry me, and it got me wondering if that was the case. Like I said above, I thought my mom had accepted my choice. I was wrong. I just got off the phone with her after pressing her for quite a while, and she admitted a few things to me. Here we go. First, yes, she told Sarah that I had bought the ring and was getting ready to propose to her. Unbelievable. Well, no, not unbelievable. Totally believable, but you can understand my unbelievable reaction there. It was his business. He was going to propose to the girl, and his mom went blabbing off to her. Remember I told you about certainty, guys? And how when gals start to have certainty in relationships, they can start to think they can get away with certain things. In the video I said, I wonder if she knew about it, because before she never wanted to do these girls' weekends and all that type of stuff, because by the way, her friends didn't like this guy because she wouldn't go do those girls' nights with them. Then she finds out about the ring from his mom who blabbed, and all of a sudden she wants to go on a girls' weekend, which he made abundantly clear in the beginning of the relationship. I'm not down with that. I know what goes down. Not going to happen. That's a very important term in this relationship for me to be with you. She finds out about that ring, and all of a sudden, hey, can we go on a girls' weekend? Because I got this guy. See? And who ruined it? Mom. And again, what's mom thinking about? Oh, I get a wedding. I can invite all my old crony friends to come along, and I can be the rock star mother of the groom, and this means I'm going to get grandkids, blah, 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 blah. So she's thinking more about her. Bro, I don't mean to be insulting towards your mom and family, but I'm laying it out. This is a channel to learn things from. So guys, remember, family doesn't always have your best interests at heart. They're doing what's best for them. And then if it works out for you, that's good too. Freaking mother told her. He says they were already doing research on wedding gowns and other things for the wedding. Unbelievable. Hell, my mom told me that I had embarrassed her because she had already told a lot of people in my family that I was getting married and to be looking out for their invitations. What a selfish a-hole. Again, I don't mean to be insulting your mom, bro, but let's be honest, that's what she is. She had no business telling your girl that you were going to propose to her. She had no business going telling everybody else in the family and friends, look out for that invitation, blah, blah, blah. No. And that's why she's pissed off at you and has not let up, because she felt embarrassed by this, by opening her big mouth. It was her own self-interest. My mom loves Sarah, and I have a sneaking suspicion that she was really looking forward to getting a grandchild. What'd I tell you? My mom has never been the most patient person, and my sister hasn't had any kids yet. That brings to some other admissions she made to me. I mentioned that she would occasionally give me a grief about Sarah when I talked to her on or visited, even today. I asked my mom why it was so hard for her to let it go. I mean, it's been 2 years. I think the topic of Sarah in my life has been over for a long time. What she said next floored me. She said that she had been in continuous contact with Sarah for over 2 years, and they were still holding out hope that I would come to my senses and take her back. Mom has stayed in contact with the ex-girlfriend. Where's the loyalty here? Her son should be the number one priority, not this ex-girlfriend. But mom has it set in her mind that this is the girl for him, and they're going to get married, and that's it, and they're going to give me grandchildren, blah, 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 and she's staying in contact with her. Not cool. But it gets worse. It says here, at a minimum, they were having lunch at least once a month, but mom admitted that more times than that, they were doing something together every week. My mom was already treating her like a daughter-in-law. They're getting together at least once a month, if not sometimes once a week. Does this girl have any other life? I mean, but remember, she's obviously late 20s, maybe around 30 years old. So if she was a hottie when she was younger, she's turning 30. So you know what that means. They start thinking, oh shit, I got to get married. They know that big 3-0, that's when the value drops. It's like you buy a car, you buy a new car, guys, and the second you drive that car off the lot, it depreciates in value significantly. It's like that. Once that gal's hit that 30. Now, don't get me wrong, and I acknowledge this all the time, you can have damn good-looking women in their 30s and 40s and sometimes 50s, but it doesn't compare to those 20s, and they know it. They won't admit it, but they know it. So she's working behind the scenes with mom. If there's more of a reason now for him to never get back with her, there you go. Not that this guy wanted to do it anyway. Finding that out explained another unanswered question that I had. Like I said, it's been more than 2 years since Sarah was in my life. I haven't gotten into any serious relationships, and after my experiences, I don't plan on it. But I've been on some dates in that time. I brought a couple of my dates over to meet my mom and have lunch or dinner. And at the time, I didn't understand why my mom was being overly rude and snarky to them. But now that all makes sense. My mom told me when I asked her about that, she told me, wait for it, I was cheating on Sarah. How the hell are you cheating on your ex-girlfriend who you broke up with years later when you're dating other women? You're not betrothed to her. It's just that mama is trying to manipulate you and use guilt and every other tactic to get her way. Again, guys, about the whole family thing, how, family sometimes can cause more turmoil and sabotage your life than anybody else. And this is why guys need to have a way to be strong enough when to draw the line in the sand with family. And if they cross that line, he could literally walk away from him. I wouldn't quite say that. I would say you're very close at this point to doing that in this situation. Because the loyalty hasn't been to you, it's been to this chick. But more importantly, the loyalty to mom has been to mom. For her wedding and grandkids. And, I know better because I'm your mother. This is a grown-ass man. This dude who wrote this story is mature beyond his years. But mom knows better. He says, now, I've always done my best to keep my anger under control and act like an adult. But I think that was the first time in my life that I yelled at my mom. Nobody would blame you. I can't even put into words how furious I was at such a crazy idea. I can't control who my mom was going to associate with, but I can control my own life. I'm not one to give people ultimatums, but enough was enough. I told my mom if she wanted to maintain that relationship with Sarah, then she was picking her over her own son. Good, bro. You drew that line in the sand. You had to do that. If that's the way she wanted to be, I wouldn't stop her. But I wasn't going to be party to it. I still have no idea what she's going to decide, but for now, my mom's pretty pissed at me. Let her be pissed. She did this. You didn't do anything wrong. You were taking care of you, okay? And guys, in a situation like this, I don't think you're going to get in this situation, but you got to take care of you first. And this guy's never been rude to his mom. He's never been disrespectful, but she crossed the line with this. Line in the sand. Her or me. End of story. And there's no maybe this, maybe that. No. Her or me. You terminate the relationship with her, or that's it. But bro, let me tell you something. You better be prepared to stick with your decision here. Because if she says, okay, I pick you, and you find out a year later she's still talking to Sarah, then you're done. And don't think for a second that your mom's not going to try to pull that because she thinks, hey, I'm his mother, I'm right. Trust me. After getting off the phone with my mom, I called my sister to find out how much she knew about everything going on. Again, I found out some shocking information that pissed me off. My sister was completely aware and supportive of what my mom was doing in the background, and she admitted something that confused me. Apparently, Sarah had been buying me gifts, and my mom and sister were passing them to me through them. A random gift here, a birthday gift there. I assumed they were from my family, from clothes to cologne. When I think about it now, it does make sense. Sarah knew the kind of things I liked. I'm not sure why it didn't raise any questions in my mind how my mom and sister seem to know the things that I like. Now that I know, I feel dirty and have words with my sister the same as I have my mom, and just like my mom, she thinks I'm being unreasonable because it's obvious that Sarah still loves you. Who gives a crap if she still loves you? It didn't work out, you ended it, it's your freaking business. So the sister is in cahoots with the mom about this whole thing. But I tell you about the gals are going to have loyalty to the gals no matter what. And I wonder if this girl, if his sister is the older sister. Because therefore I'm the older sister and I know better against my baby brother. He says here, then she called me a jackass and hung up. This brings me to a valuable lesson I learned today. Women, regardless of whether they share your blood, are fucking crazy. Well, there you go, guys. Real life example. I think you need to draw the line in the sand with your sister as well. It may be the only person you talk to in this whole situation is going to be your dad, and your dad's going to go crazy because your mom's making him crazy and your sister's making him crazy. It may be just the bros. Remember, guys, women respect strength, not weakness. So you're going to have to show ultra strength with your mom and sister to get them to play ball with what you want for your life. And if you show any weakness, if you give just a little bit, they're going to try to take advantage of that to get their way. So your mom may agree to your terms very reluctantly and with a lot of pissing and moaning, but I wouldn't be surprised at all, given what you're telling me and what I understand about these types of things from my personal life, and trust me on this, that she'll still keep talking to her anyway. And you may have a very hard decision to make one day, my friend, with regards to your family. There were some questions in the comments that people thought I might eventually get back with Sarah. Let me be crystal clear. We will never be in a relationship again. That ship has sailed. It sailed already, but now that she was having a thing going with your mom and sister for 2 years behind your back, there is no possible way. None. I gave her 3 years of my life and gave her my best. It wasn't enough that she didn't get me anymore. That doesn't mean I don't care for her. I probably always will because she didn't break my heart. She didn't cheat on me. She didn't abuse me. I have little doubt that she would have, and that's why I broke up with her. But as it is, I still look at our time together with fondness. I broke up with her specifically because I didn't want to ruin a wonderful time with a woman that I had loved. I can't have the woman, but I get to keep my memories. That has to be enough. Yeah, dude, you had a great time with her, and you're having a very mature attitude about this. Most dudes wouldn't, okay? But unfortunately, now that you know what's been going on for 2 years, there's no way that I can't tarnish your memory of her. And some people may say, oh, she was desperate and blah, 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 blah. No. Speaking of Sarah, there were some questions about her trip to Florida. She didn't go. Of course, her friends are pissed and try to blame me, but you can't fight crazy. The trip was during the time we were packing her things out of the house. He says, I'm not going to be rude to her, and I don't hold any ill will towards her, but the relationship we had is over by her own decisions. From what I've heard through a couple of mutual friends, she and her friends got back to the club scene a few months after she moved out. Well, of course they did. Her friends are probably like rubbing their paws together like, all right, we got our girl back. I don't really know if she has anyone in her life right now or not. I'm not curious, and I haven't asked, even when my mom just tried to bring me up to speed in her life. So that's it. My life is good and I'm in a good place. I have no idea what's going on with Sarah and I'm not interested. My mom and sister have been working behind the scenes trying to get me to see the error of my ways and take her back. Welcome to the dysfunctional families of America. I have no regrets for the decisions I've made. Good luck to all the men out there, and if you can add one bit of advice, keep to your convictions. Not everything needs to be a fight, but sometimes a fight is what is needed. Bro, you have definitely are getting an award for one of the best stories of all time. That I must say, in the almost 2 years since I started this channel. I really appreciate you sending it over. So guys, there you go. That answers a lot of your questions that you had, because believe me, this had a lot of comments about that. And I knew it. I knew it when I read this story the first time, and somehow, some way, she knew about that damn ring. And that probably gave her the comfort and certainty to say, oh, I want to do the girls' weekend, knowing darn well that was the number one thing you said no way to, because you knew from your unfortunate past experience. And if you guys haven't seen the video, I'll post a link to the video. It was only a couple days ago. Watch it. It's 33 minutes long, but it's worth every minute. It's that good. And so guys, remember, if there's anything you take out of this, guys, remember what happens when you give a gal certainty. Women hate uncertainty, don't get me wrong, and yet they're attracted to that. And who gives the gals the most uncertainty ever? Bad boys. Who gives women the most certainty ever? Nice guys. You don't see them lusting after nice guys, they lust after the bad boys. This is why it's always in your interest to make her a little unsure where she stands with you. It's always better for a guy to have her more into the relationship than you. It sucks. It's something you certainly wouldn't want to do to someone you deeply cared about in a perfect world. It is what it is. And the second she knew about that ring, and obviously mama behind her and everything, oh, this guy isn't going nowhere. I can now do the girls' weekend. But big surprise, this guy said, nope. This guy is rare. We can all learn from this guy. So I wish him well. I wish him everything well in life. And I hope to hear from you down the road to see how you're doing. And I'm curious about your mom and sister, because I can tell you right now, I just know the type. She's going to begrudgingly agree to your terms. But I have a funny feeling she'll still stay in contact with your ex. And you're going to have to make a very tough decision. But remember, women don't respect weakness. So if you lay down that law with her, and she tests it, which she will, guaranteed, you better be prepared to back up your convictions. You have done it so far with your ex, but with your family is a whole new level. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you have a great story you'd like to share or send, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Again, I don't care if it happened last week or happened 25 years ago. Send me your story, make sure it's written well, and I will definitely cover it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.